Star Trek Discovery Episode 3. I watched, but I was more really concerned with pausing it every 5 minutes and arguing with somebody who was like, I like it because it's representative and diversity and yay. You know, one of those people who really can't tell you why they like it, but are really, really upset because you don't. That is not a way, if I don't like the TV show, don't watch my opinion of it. I'm not going to like Discovery. It's not getting really better. I am just lowering my expectations. Now, episode 3, they have Michael Burnham and the crew, and they're kind of reintroducing her. And they have this new, inspector. She's a 16-year-old super genius. This is one of the actors who is introduced as, and I'm saying she because they're using the she pronoun in the show. They were introduced, and why this is important is because this person has been marketed as non-binary, which means that they don't really identify as really anything, even though so you can say they, and they're perfectly happy being identified as they, because, which is fine. You do you. Just don't tell other people they'd have to put pronouns in their bios, because that's overstepping it. Now, but the whole fact that they're marketing this new character on the pronoun is a real issue for me, because like we keep saying with the ensign that they just casually show randomly wheeling themselves throughout the hallway only for representation. Timber! That people are more than just their label, their ability, their gender, their identity, any of that stuff. And the fact that they don't even bother naming this character, Timber, really, really annoys the crap out of me. Not only that, there's no way to get on and off the transporter pad. There's no way to actually do anything other than just roll around the hallway. Timber! But yeah, so it's supposed to be a 16-year-old genius. It's another Wesley Crusher sort of character. This character has a Trill inside of them. Not Timmy, the new one, the Adira character. This 16-year-old genius who's inspecting the ship for reasons, and like I said, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to this other than, oh yeah, we're just more Discovery. I have one issue, and I'm going to, before I really get into more of why and what my issue with Discovery was, I think that the show would have done better if this was a show where you switch back and forth, where if your Discovery crew is off trying to find Michael Burnham for a year, and Michael Burnham's adventures on the planet for a year, because she had a whole year go by on that planet, where they're trying everything from being Mass Effect to Firefly with the Western stuff. They even have a cat. Why didn't we cut back and forth where we'd see the crew and their adventures, and then they finally get Michael Burnham? And then you finally get that, it's been a year and I missed you guys. And then you finally actually feel the emotions that they're so hell-bent on making you feel and making sure you feel. So that's one thing that I really would have liked, instead of just, now episode 2 and here we are. Because episode 1 was all Michael Burnham. Episode 2 was all a Discovery. They really should have just split that all up back and forth. But that's the problem. I mean, you gotta have all this Michael Burnham stuff. And I think she's a little bit less unlikable when she's not anywhere near the crew, because the crew are fine without her. I don't dislike the cast members. I want to see more of them. That is one thing that really, once we get into episode 4 here, they are kind of giving us a little bit more of that. Not to the point where it fixes a lot of the other issues, but it's a start, it's like a baby step, just baby steps. So episode 3 was a whole bunch of really, really nothing, with Michael Burnham coming back on the ship, and they pick up this Adira chick who has a Trill symbiont for reasons, because humans can all of a sudden carry Trill symbionts now. And this is where I start to get a little irritated with this thing, because now we get into episode 4. We actually are still getting the little spark of, okay, we're getting more of the other crew. Dr. Culber has the voiceover, the insert of a captain's log, as it were, where we hear what's going on with him and how he's trying to help the crew's morale. And even Saru's trying to help the crew's morale. They have this big get-together, this really awkward table gathering where Kayla Detmer, we actually see more of her, and I like her. I like her character. I don't like that they're not making her as attractive as she is in real life, because that actress is very attractive. But we see more of her, and she's kind of having a hard time dealing with, seeing Stamets' blood everywhere. We hear her say that. They're doing a haiku, and she cannot get away from that. She doesn't want to participate. She's clearly going through some stuff here, as is a lot of the other crew. And this is one of the things I always like to point out, is they would have gone through a lot of psyche vows before they ended up on a starship, where their lives are at risk every single day. They make life and death decisions every single day. They would have had some more, and I get it, this is kind of unusual. Oh, that's not even a word. Cancel me. Unusual circumstances where, they're 900 years in the future, all of a sudden, everything they've ever known is gone. I kind of get where they're trying to insert that, but still, you still would have had some more psyche vows for the crew, and had they taken place just after TOS, we would have had ship's counselors by then. Anyway. You know what, Mikey Spock is such a wonderful crew member that maybe she'll just be the ship's counselor from now on, I guess. I don't know. Now we're in episode 4 that I'm talking about here, and this episode, we are going to the Trill homeworld. Still, I guess they're jumping around on the magic mushroom drive because the burn thing happened. Oh yeah, what's the burn? We don't know. All the dilithium just went poof. It just went poof for no reason. It just poof. And it all blowed up real good, like nothing. It's just for reasons, I guess, and science.
I like science.
No one asked you, Spock. It went poof. I guess all of the ships that were at warp blew up instead of just dropping out of warp like I would assume they would. Wouldn't you assume that they would just drop out of warp? No. They just went poof. Except for, Earth, which is perfectly intact. And I guess they didn't have any dilithium in storage anywhere. It was just the dilithium that was actually being used. And it was a big enough thing to just eliminate all of the ships except for all of the ones that you see flying around. You go to Earth from episode 3, nothing looks unusual, nothing looks like it's that big of a deal or happened, but they're treating it like there's no more transportation. Oh wait, we didn't think that one through because this is modern day Star Trek, and they don't. Melting ice is too thinky for them, and I've said that before. That they don't think anything through, so every time I am taking out of every little story plot point, that is a strike against this show. Every time I have to say, what about this? What if this? Why didn't they do that? What about this thing? What about this other episode where this was not the case? Remember when Riker had a Trill symbiont and it almost killed him and he couldn't actually survive with it, but this Adira chick can just come in and say, oh, no, it wants to live with me just because, and spoilers, not like we didn't figure this out really, really quickly early on. It happened to be the symbiont in her boyfriend, even though both of these characters looked about 15, what they were doing on some ship by themselves, where she's the only person there to take a Trill symbiont, who the crap knows, why they wouldn't have removed it from her pretty darn quickly and early on, once they found out she had the damn thing. Another, who knows, I guess Trill are no longer part of the Federation, or were not part of the Federation, or for whatever reason. Were they ever a part of the Federation? And even I don't even remember. That's how bad this show breaks my brain. I forget Star Trek that I like. That's how bad this one is. So we get to the Trill homeworld, and of course the Trill are super xenophobic and anti this and that, and Adira has to go into the little pool like Jadzia did. She needs to remember all of her previous incarnations and hosts. First off, how does she even have this? She doesn't even have the organ that could allow the Trill to exist inside of her. She's a living human person. She doesn't have the physiological ability to host this thing, especially for as long as she has. Second, why would people just be letting her have one if it's those are that rare and precious of a commodity? Like that was the whole reason why they had such a huge training process for Jadzia Dax anyway in Deep Space Nine, was that they had so few Trill symbionts to go around, but everybody, pretty much like a third of the population, was compatible. So they had to weed out and make them the best and the brightest, and they treated they coexist on their planet. They treated these like a protected, sacred thing because there were so few of them, and they were eternal. They pretty much, they would keep going and going and going as long as they had a host. So you kind of treated that life a little bit higher priority than your regular old Trill humanoids, right? So we get there, and of course she goes into the water of the whole Trill pool to remember. They do a whole train spotting going all the way deep down, sort of like when Renton dives into the toilet in Train Spotting. To have this huge trying to remember sequence. Of course, there's something goes wrong. Michael Burnham has to jump in and save her, even though how would Michael Burnham be able to go into her memories and all her stuff? How is Michael Burnham, some human, able to physiologically do that? I don't know. Did that happen in Deep Space Nine? It's been a while since I saw that episode with Jadzia and the Trill. I kind of remember being in the commercial for it. Her just going, I think that's what they were going for. They went with the visuals from the commercial when they used to sell you the Deep Space Nine DVD or video cassettes back in the day. It was the video cassettes, I think. So Mikey Spock, Michael Burnham, dives into the water to go and save her, this Adira chick, where she's like, I gotta guide you, you gotta remember. And of course, we find out that the Trill was in the other character who was announced only for their gender identity, their transgender character. Which, and do you guys know where I'm going with this? We've already had the Trill gender identity issues in a much more interesting and entertaining way. So of course you find out that they were lovers and that the boyfriend changed after they were joined, and then they could all of a sudden play the cello. The Gray is the character's name. And something happens, and of course they're forced to put the Trill in the human, because this is the type of thing a 15-year-old would write themselves into. This is fan fiction. Somebody found their teenage daughter's fan fiction about wanting to be a joined Trill as a human. And that's where we are. And that's where we are with that. That episode was so annoying, and it was so predictable, first of all. It doesn't make sense as far as Star Trek is concerned, in my opinion, and was boring. And not only that, they're still using these characters for their gender. No, we're not done with that. They refer to these characters as she and boyfriend, right? So the non-binary character is referred to as she, and if that's actually a big deal to them, they would refer to the character as they. But like I said, Star Trek are not actually interested in actual representation or diversity. They are interested in checking that little Wokemon checkbox that they like to check.
Wokemon.
To prove they're not a bunch of ists and phobes like we know they are. It's just really frustrating. How are we supposed to get their pronouns right when they can't? And I'm probably incorrect on one of them, and I don't even care anymore. And a non-binary person, a non-binary character, we're going to probably have some dialogue saying, oh, just call me they. Because of so it's still not even representative of actual non-binary people like they want to say they are, like they think they are. When they have to use a Trill as an excuse to do that, but, whatever. I did not like the episode, but they are showing us a little bit more of the other crew. It's still not good. It's really still not good. But
Give me the Star Trek crap. It's too early in the morning.
And yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Star Trek. I'm going back to my live chat. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!